Thanks for joining me for another video. This is a closer look at the Omega Crux. We're on the 2019 USBC Open Championships doubles and singles pattern, which is 42 feet and 28.4 mils, so on the longer side of medium and heavier volume. This is the kind of condition this ball was designed for. Once again, my layout is 5 by 3.5 by 2.5, which is a pretty strong layout overall. The catalyst core is on the weaker side for an ASIM, mostly because you don't change much during drilling due to the cutout in the front of the core, so I wanted to go with a more dynamic layout. This is an ideal reaction for me in this condition. Even with the stronger layout, the catalyst core creates a really familiar rolly and not quite round but smoother shape. This helps keep you in the pocket more often than not. It allows you to roll the ball without it really jerking when it hits friction, and it doesn't start up super early. Cruxes for me are basically asymmetric versions of idle or phase line balls. I see them as stronger benchmark reactions, and you don't typically say benchmark when it comes to ASIMs unless you're talking about heavier volumes or longer patterns. Now, it was just a little too much ball for the house shot, or a little bit more than I'd want, but still definitely playable. Part of that, I think, was just being fresh out of the box. And once I get 20 games on it or so and the cover settles in, I think it'll definitely be a daily driver in League, and just an Aberlon pad away from being back in shape to tackle something like this pattern. Usually pearls don't come sanded, so this is pretty unusual, but more and more people are starting to take the factory shine off because they recognize that it can contribute to inconsistency and create over-under, so Chad and the team just eliminated a step there. Those of us who actually favor the factory shine will still see it show up over time with use. I do actually prefer lane shine to using polish though, so this will probably put me in an even better situation than the factory shine does after 10 games or so. This initially creates a reaction more typically expected out of a solid or hybrid ball. The Pearl, Hybrid, and Solid designators usually give you an idea what to expect. Solids are typically the earliest and smoothest, Pearls are the longest and strongest, Hybrids are in between, but when you start changing surfaces and cover formulas and cores, a lot of times that can be virtually ignored, and I think that's the case here. Smooth and rolly core, Pearl version of Storm's new strongest cover with GI20, and a 3000 grit finish adds up to a reaction that doesn't act traditionally Pearl at all. That's definitely not a bad thing though. Ball reaction's always king, so don't dwell on the fact that it's a Pearl. Ultimately, that can mean very little. I know there's all kinds of rules of thumb and other rules that aren't actually rules that people think are hard and fast, but when someone tells you that you need all three cover types in your bag and you're looking at the Omega versus the Astro, for example, you're going to be light years apart and probably really confused because you're focusing on one variable out of a dozen. I'm going to be featuring a comparison video between those two so that you can see what I mean. When you're building a bag, shapes should be the number one thing you're looking at. You can use Aberlon or polish to increase or decrease traction, and of course there's a few other important variables, but when it comes to the Omega, you have a medium length, medium friction response ball that has a very strong cover formula. It's going to be best on medium to higher volume conditions and medium to lower friction lanes. Sometimes even if you have higher volumes but higher friction lanes, the cover won't want to get down the lane and you could find yourself with pretty confusing ball reaction. I hope you've enjoyed this deeper look at the Omega Crux. Release day is February 21st. Thanks for watching.